I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
What up, Militia? I'm Mean Joe Grizzly, and when I'm not mindlessly putting myself in the path of a murderous, vengeful killer, I'm at the Grizzly Cave, watching movies, reading comics, listening to metal, and of course, crushing beers. And I am back at the Grizzly Cave to bring y'all my review of the long-awaited Legacy sequel that no one asked for, I Know What You Did Last Summer. So, does I Know What You Did Last Summer live up to the hype? Does it reach the heights of Legacy sequels like Halloween 2018 and Scream 5? Or does it reach the lows that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 and Exorcist Believer have achieved? Let's find out. This is Grizzly Grade Reviews. When five friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, they cover it up and make a pact to keep their secret. 1 year later, their past comes back to haunt them as they are stalked and hunted down one by a mysterious killer. So they seek help from two survivors of a legendary massacre in Southport in 1997. So when this was announced, I was like really confused because I was like, I had no idea this was even happening. I know that Amazon tried to do this show. I didn't even bother watching it because it looked awful. I just had no idea that it was going to be a thing at all. So I was kind of curious. And I like the first two I Know What You Did Last Summer films. I think that they are classics of 1990s slashers, although I don't think they are classics overall. I still enjoyed both of them. But I had no idea what they were going to do with the story because there isn't really much story to tell. And then they announced that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. were coming back to reprise their roles, and my confusion kind of turned into intrigue and curiosity. And then the early reviews started coming out for people who got to see the movie early, some saying that this is the best Legacy sequel ever made, and this is how Halloween 2018 and Scream 5 should have handled their Legacy reboots. And after seeing this movie, I can say, what the fuck are you guys smoking? Me and my wife recently rewatched the original I Know What You Did Last Summer in preparation of this because I was told that it would have no ties to any other film but the first one. And we were kind of got a little bit excited, and then we hear all these rumors that it's so damn good and all this, and then we both went and seen this movie, and both of us thought that this movie fucking sucked. But I'm not going to make this review all about that, just mostly about it. So let's get to the positives. One of the big positives of the movie is there are a lot of Easter eggs from the lore of the story and from the original film that I thought were very well done, from stuff with the cinematography to set pieces like the Shivers store that was now turned into something else, but the location is still the same, to Billy Blue being like up on this like sign and raised bar, and even the drone shots of the highway where everything always seems to go wrong in this universe. I thought that those callbacks were very well done. I also thought that the way the fisherman was portrayed was very well done. He is way more formidable than he is in any of the other movies. And it's not necessarily on how brutal he is as a killer or anything. It's just it's the way that they make him look with the cinematography and the lighting and all of the cool shots that they do with this character. I think that this is probably the most formidable he has looked, even though there's not really that much violence. Moving on to the mix, I think some of the story elements in here are very interesting, like the town of Southport. Pretty much anything to do with Southport, I think, is done very well because it presents this real world thing that goes on, particularly in my neck of the woods in the South, where you got people that come from other states that come in and they gentrify everything and make that town or area look like a shell of itself, where it's nothing like it was before and that town loses all identity. I thought that was a very interesting thing to really talk about in this movie. I just wish they would have done a little bit more with that intrigue throughout the story with other topics. The kills in the movie go into the mix section because I think there are some really good ideas here that were just poorly executed. And In other Legacy sequels, the gore has been up significantly, bringing these new movies, these new chapters, and these franchises up to new heights. Scream 100% did a better job of giving us more gory kills than it has in its previous chapters, and so did Halloween 2018. So I was really looking forward to that in this, and they don't deliver that, but they do give us a little bit more creativity in some of these kills. I think the spear gun is a cool ass weapon to use in this movie. It fits the character perfectly, and I just thought that why have they not thought about this before, because I don't recall a spear gun ever being used in any of the other movies. And when I seen that in the trailer, I was like, ooh, that's going to be brutal as hell. And for most of the scene, it is pretty damn brutal, and I was very satisfied with that. There are a couple of death scenes, one in particular that seems like it goes on a little longer than the others, that involves the fisherman's hook, and I thought that was pretty damn gnarly. And then there is a aftermath scene that is very creative to me that, again, goes along with the theme of the fisherman, and I thought that was well done as well. But unfortunately, guys, that's where the positives end, that's where the mixed aspects end. Everything here on out is negative. And I'm not going to be kind to this movie. So brace yourselves. First off, not the most important, but definitely one of the big issues with this movie is not one single fucking character in this movie is likable. They all suck. They are all, not only are these characters like representative of the worst traits of the current generation of Gen Z, but also they are portrayed as just these douchebags that nobody fucking likes. And me as who I am, how I was raised, who I grew up around and everything, I've grown up around so many different people. And I can tell you right now, these Richie Rich kids are the worst Richie Rich kids that I have ever seen in a movie. And to the point that they are to cartoonish levels, and they're just not real people. And for that reason, I could not wait for all of them to die. And that's something that does not bode well for a movie for me, when I just cannot wait till everybody that we are introduced to, that we are supposed to be rooting for, that I simply cannot wait for them to die because they are just horrible fucking people. And unfortunately, there's one actor or actress in this movie who I think is a decent actress, and I think that she really got the raw end of the deal, because the dialogue and the script in this movie was so poorly written that it made her character the most unbearable. And that's Madeline Klein's character. She is the most abysmal, most despicable character in this entire movie. And I'm talking about them like they are just evil, but it's not that they are evil, it's that they represent everything that is wrong with that type of demographic of people. And I can't root for people like that at all. And it's no wonder that the dialogue and the writing in this movie is so fucking bad, because the director and the co-writer of this movie, they also co-wrote Thor: Love and Thunder. And I don't have to emphasize how horrible that fucking movie was from a directing standpoint and from a writing standpoint. It makes sense now why this movie is written so poorly and why the dialogue is absolutely unbelievable, inhuman, and just shitty. And it's shitty from so many standpoints. It's not just the dialogue. The dialogue is definitely one of the bigger points, but the story itself and the structure of how this entire plot is just all over the fucking place, and none of it makes sense. It's like they just jumbled a bunch of shit together and like said, I hope it works, and just threw it together. And when certain things happen and certain things are revealed, you're just sitting there like, well, I seen that coming, but why the fuck did they do that? And the comedic writing is not good either. It's none of the jokes land, none of the little smart things that get said land. They're all just, it's all just dog shit. None of it works. Also, the way that these legacy characters are utilized is absolutely baffling. You bring back Jennifer Love Hewitt, who plays Julie James, reprising her role, as well as Freddie Prinze Jr. reprising his role as Ray, and you immediately alienate both of those characters. You immediately take them completely against what they are as those characters, and you utilize them, one, in the most batshit crazy way that literally doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever, and you put one in the background and make them say all of the callback lines that are cringy as hell. So it's like, why did these two even get brought back if you were going to use them so shitty? So everything I'm going to be talking about from here on out is going to be spoilers, so go to this time code right here to skip all that and go straight to the verdict. So they telegraph who the killers are right from the get-go. It's not really hard to figure out, but the motivations make no fucking sense. And one of the killers is someone in the friend group. That's not relevant to why I'm bringing in the spoiler talk. I want to talk about what they did with Ray. Starting out, they made Ray and Julie hate each other. They got married. They had a family allegedly. No sign of any kids or anything, but they did get married, and they both hate each other. They both don't want to have nothing to do with each other. They literally live in separate places. Ray lives in Southport. She lives somewhere else. I can't remember where she was living at, but they literally scoff at each other and they hate each other so much. And I just don't get what was the purpose of doing that. It completely alienates both of those characters, and it makes us wonder what the fuck happened. You can't do that to two characters that are so melded together without offering an explanation. And to do that off screen and so hand wavy was so fucking lazy, and honestly just a fucking waste. Why even bring them back if you're going to do that? It was the equivalent of how they handled the last Insidious movie, where that entire franchise minus one movie is about a family who is coming together and overcoming adversity despite all odds, and in the final movie in the franchise you have them completely splitting up and not trying to hold on after all they've been through. It makes no fucking sense, and it's an odd choice to say the least. Then in the third act, when everything seemed to be done, the killer seemed to be vanquished, we get the big reveal that the killer wasn't working alone, shocker, and Ray is the accomplice. And my God, what a dumbass idea that was. Now, I could get behind a crazy ass idea like that if you can justify it, if you could find a way to make it work. But the motivation behind why Ray is doing this is so that Southport won't forget what happened to them. And it don't make any fucking sense, and it's fucking stupid. It is stupid as shit. Then when he's revealed, there's no big showdown. It's just one point where Ray and Julie are confronting each other at Ray's bar. The other character that's the survivor, essentially our lead, she's over there all messed up or whatnot off screen, and the two are confronting each other. And then we get the most cringiest fucking dialogue ever when Julie repeats her iconic saying from the first movie, "What are you waiting for?" And she does it in such a it's like, "What are you waiting for?" when Ray's about to kill her. "What are you waiting for?" when Ray's about to kill her. And it's like, what the fuck, guys? You thought this was a good idea to put that on paper and on camera. It really wasn't good the first time it happened in the original movie, guys. It damn sure doesn't work here. So between that and the line that when the lead character goes to find Julie James to get help, between the line of, "Hey, me and my friends were being stalked by what seems to be the same guy that was stalking you, or at least it's some copycat or something," Julie James turns around and says, "Just tell me one thing. What did you do last summer?" What the fuck, man? What the fuck? It's so bad. And then when everything's said and done, there's no big showdown. Ray gets killed off in a very unceremonious way. And then when you get to the ending of the movie, Madeline Klein's character, she survives. Her and the lead, they march out of the hospital, only for us to have to sit down and listen to this random ass dialogue between them two, where they state something that is of the equivalent of, none of this would have happened if men would get therapy. Completely forgetting that one of the killers is a woman. The original mastermind was a woman. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, so the movie just compounds on itself over and over again, just becoming a complete and utter pile of shit. Then we are treated to a end credit scene where we are shown that Brandy, played by Brandy, is back, and her and Julie are going to team up because apparently now someone still knows what they did last summer, before that last summer. It's fucking stupid. This movie was a pile of dog shit and a complete waste of time, and I hope there are no more sequels. And if they do make a sequel, as of right now, I'm not going to go see it. I'm just going to wait for streaming on that one because this was absolutely awful. And just to clarify, you guys are crazy. Everyone that is sitting around saying that this is the best legacy sequel ever, that Screaming Halloween need to take notes, and all this nonsense, guys, if there was ever a moment where people can justify claiming that someone was paid to give a positive review, this is one of them. If you're giving this a positive review and you are a big time YouTuber, you're fucking lying. You got paid to do it. There's no way that you like this movie. It's impossible. No fucking way. No respectable person would say that this movie is the quintessential and pinnacle of requels / legacy sequels. There's no way in hell. And this is coming from someone who likes really trashy movies, really bad movies like Sorority Girls and the Slime Bowl-orama and stuff like that. I'm telling you, this movie fucking sucks. More importantly, I don't even know who this movie was made for. No one asked for it. Sure, it's got a fan base, but it's like, who actually said, damn, I really want I Know What You Did Last Summer legacy sequel? There's no more story to tell. There was no other direction the story could go to, and it just felt like it was a senseless cash grab to really like bounce off of the nostalgia that some of us have for these 90s slashers. If the movie never made it out of the early 2000s, if that franchise didn't make it out of the early 2000s, why did you think that it was going to work now? Especially when the story had a big time conclusion on it, a big exclamation point on it. It was done. Makes no sense to me. And honestly, shame on y'all. Shame on y'all for delivering an inferior product, and shame on y'all for getting everybody who is a diehard fan of this franchise's hopes up. So with all that being said, I Know What You Did Last Summer gives a 1.5 out of 5 and is 100% not Grizzly grade guaranteed. If I were you, I would skip this movie, and I damn sure wouldn't even watch it on streaming. Just act like it doesn't exist. To me, this is on the same level as that third film that went straight to DVD. Just act like it doesn't exist and you'll be a lot better off for it. And with that, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all so much for your continued patience and support. Without y'all, this channel isn't possible. And if you like this video, like it. And if you like it enough, please head over to the channel, hit the subscribe and bell button so you never miss a video. Also, please follow me on all social media platforms so you can get channel updates, movie news, and all forms of badassery. Coming up next is one of my most anticipated films of the year. I am so excited to review The Fantastic Four. At least I hope I'm going to be excited to review The Fantastic Four. After the Thunderbolts, I feel like that the ball is in Disney's court and that they have a chance to really redeem themselves for the last few years that they've delivered a lackluster, inferior product. So here's to hoping that The Fantastic Four is going to be good, because man, Disney needs a win. So stay tuned next time, and remember, I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.